Today we are going to learn a new chapter. The name of the chapter is Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe is an imaginary character. It is not a real character. You must have seen Marvel Comics, superheroes of Marvel Comics, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, they all are imaginary characters. Fictional character does not exist in real. Similarly, Robinson Crusoe is also an imaginary character. It is not a small lesson. Robinson Crusoe is a novel. Novel means a book that tells a story about people and events that are not real. It has many chapters. We are going to learn only a small portion of the novel Robinson Crusoe, written by Daniel Defoe. He is the writer of the novel Robinson Crusoe. Today, we will learn only a small portion of it. Let me tell you some important things about Robinson Crusoe. When Robinson Crusoe was a child, he always wanted to be a sailor. Sailor means the one who sails, the one who travels across the sea. But his parents never wanted him to become a sailor. So one day, without informing his parents, Robinson Crusoe left the house and went to travel across the sea. And then there are many incidents took place in his life. So it is one of them, very small. If whenever you get time, you can watch chapters of Robinson Crusoe on YouTube. There are many videos on the novel Robinson Crusoe. I hope you must have understood. We are going to learn only a small part of it. So pronouncer is going to read the chapter, and along with a loud reading, I am going to explain. So keep a pencil in your hand, pay attention, listen to the loud reading and listen to the explanation I do, because in between I may ask anyone any question. Let us begin now. Robinson Crusoe's ship had been destroyed by the sea. He had been alone for many years and longed for company. One day he discovers a footprint on the sand. Let's find out what he did then. Alright, listen to me now. As I have told you, Robinson Crusoe was a sailor. One day, when he was traveling across the sea, because of a storm, his ship got destroyed. Underline the word destroyed. It means ruin, down and out. Anyhow, Robinson Crusoe survived and reached an island. Now, what is an island? It is a piece of land that is surrounded by water from all the sides. Now, as he was alone on the island, he always longed for company. Longed. It means wished for. He wanted someone to be with him. One day, what happened? When he was going towards the seashore, he saw a footprint. Let us find out in the chapter what happens after that. Meanwhile, you underline these words. Underline the word destroyed. Underline the word longed, Longed. Underline the word discovers. And underline the word footprint. Good. Destroyed means down and out. Long means wanted, wished for. Discovers means find out. Next paragraph. Please be ready. Listen to it very well. One day, when I was going towards my boat, I was surprised to see the footprint of a man on the sand. I stood amazed. I listened. I looked around me. I could neither hear nor see anything. I went up higher to look down. I went up the shore and down the shore. But it was no good. I could find no other footprint but that one. I went to it again to see if there were any more footprints and to tell it if it had been my imagination. But I was not mistaken, for there was exactly the print of a foot, toes, heel, every part of a foot. I could not imagine how it came there. Dear students, in this paragraph, I refers to Robinson Crusoe. Now one day, what happened? Robinson Crusoe was going towards his boat. Suddenly, to his surprise, he saw a footprint. As we know, he was all alone on the island. There was no one. So seeing the footprint, Robinson Crusoe was surprised, amazed. Then he looked everywhere. He looked here, he looked there, he searched everywhere, but he did not find anyone. And he went to make it confirm that whether it was a footprint or not. Then he found, yes, it was a footprint only, because it had the parts of foot like toes and heel. So now Robinson Crusoe was completely surprised by seeing the footprint on the sand when he was going towards his boat. Dear students, underline the words in the first paragraph. Amazed, it means surprised. Shore, bank of the sea. And heel, back part of the human foot. Robinson Crusoe was amazed, surprised to see the footprint of a man on the sand when he was going towards his boat. He looked everywhere, but he did not find anyone there. Now next paragraph. I stayed a long time thinking, but became more and more confused. At last I returned home very frightened, looking behind me after every 2 or 3 steps, mistaking every bush and tree to be a man. When I came to my cave, which I called my castle, I ran inside it as if I was being chased. I do not remember whether I used the ladder or went it by the hole in the rock, which I called the door. I ran for cover faster than any animal could run. So dear students, so far we have seen that after seeing the footprint, Robinson Crusoe was very frightened. Earlier he was surprised, and then he tried to find out whose footprint it was, but he did not find anyone. So he thought about the footprint, and the more he thought, the more he got confused. In the end, he was frightened. First, he tried to see whose footprint it was, but he did not find anyone. So, slowly, after thinking so much, he was very frightened, and he ran towards his house, his cave, and he ran very fast. And when he was running, he thought he was chased by someone. Chased means if to run after. So he thought he was chased by someone. And he thought, what did he think? He thought that all the trees, bushes, might be a person, might be a man. He was that much scared by seeing the footprint of an unknown person. So in the first paragraph, he was surprised, but later he became frightened and he ran fast towards his house, towards his cave. First new word is, underline it, confused. Means what to do and what not to do. Frightened, afraid, scared. Castle. T is silent there. Chased. Ran after. Next paragraph. I did not sleep that night. So Robinson Crusoe could not sleep that night. The more I thought about what I had seen, the more afraid I became. I thought it could be one of the savages of the mainland who had wandered out to the sea in a small boat. Luckily, I was not on the shore at that time. But what if he had seen my boat? If he had seen the boat, he would have realized that someone lived on the island and would soon return with others to kill and eat me. Now, this paragraph is very important. You can see that Robinson Crusoe was very frightened. He was very afraid. He was so frightened that he could not sleep the whole night. And he kept thinking about what he had seen. What had he seen? He had seen a footprint on the sand. And then he thought, this footprint could be of savages. Now, this is a new word. Savage means wild people, those who live in forest. They are very dangerous. They eat living beings. They eat human beings. They lived in the mainlands, you can say in forest, and they wandered. Wandered means went here and there. So Robinson Crusoe thought that footprint could be of a savages, people who eat human beings. Now, thank God I was not there at the seashore. Otherwise, he would have killed me. But what if he had seen my boat? He would understand that somebody lived there. He would come with his friends and kill me. This was the thing that made Robinson Crusoe very frightened, scared. So he could not sleep. Next, and so I lay fearful for many days and prayed for protection. In doing so, I was much comforted and began going out to investigate. But even now, as I went forward, I looked behind me frequently because I was still very frightened. However, as I went about 2 or 3 days and saw nothing, I became little bolder. I decided to go down to the shore again and examine the footprint once more. I decided to measure it with my own foot mark. Here you can see, after seeing the footprint, Robinson Crusoe was very scared. So he did not go out for many days. He stayed in his cave only because he was very scared. He prayed for his protection, that someone should come and save me. And after some days, he was much comforted. Comforted means bit relaxed. After many days, slowly he went out with fear, but slowly and gradually his fear went away. But still there was some doubt in his mind. Still there was some fear in his mind. Next, as I came closer to the footprint, I realized that it could not be my footprint because I had not come to this part of the beach since long time. Secondly, as I placed my foot alongside that footprint, it seemed larger than my own. My fear returned. I went home again, believing that there was someone there. This island was inhabited. Now, dear students, first Robinson Crusoe was surprised to see the footprint. Then he was frightened by the thought that that footprint could be of some savages. But after some days he gathered the strength and went out. But as soon as he went out to see footprint, again the fear returned to his mind. Again he was scared, he was frightened that I never came to this part, so it could never be my footprint. Now he realized, I am not alone on the island. The island was inhabited. Inhabited, it means some people have started living here. Let us see some words and their meanings. Savages, wild people. Wandered, went here and there. Realized, felt. Fearful, afraid. Comforted, relaxed. Forward, ahead. Frightened, afraid. Examine, look carefully. Closer, nearer. Inhabited, wild people or animals living there.